Alrighty, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Greenlight Podcast. My name is Sean Green. Today is the NBA Draft Lottery Special for the 2018 NBA Draft. So, I last saw you last week, and I had a pretty good episode on the Tiger versus LeBron, Des Bryant situation, Stan Van Gundy. This episode is solely going to be focused on every team that was in the NBA Draft Lottery last night. So any team that has a pick in the top 14, I'm going to be talking about. So if your team struggled last year and you guys have a top pick, I'm going to be talking about them. And I'm going to give you my mock draft 1.0. So I'm going to start to talk about the teams, and then I'm going to tell you who I think they're going to take and why I think that. So without further ado, so last night, we're going to start at number 1. So the Phoenix Suns got the first pick in the draft this year. So a ton of Phoenix Suns fans feel like they're cursed. And I agree with them. Last year, they should have had the number 1 pick. And they got, I think it was 3rd or 4th, around that 4th. They got the 4th pick, and they got Josh Jackson. So that was a pretty solid pick at that position last year. But they went 21-61 this year. And that was horrible to have a guy like Devin Booker on your team and to only win 21 games. But the reason they only won 21 games is the rest of their roster. So the fact that they got the number 1 pick this year is going to help them out tremendously. So this is going to be a good thing to get in the rhythm of what I'm going to do for every team. So every team, I'm going to tell you the needs, their problems, and I'm going to tell you my mock draft pick for them. So I think their needs at this point right now is a center and a point guard. You got Alex Len, who's a free agent. Elfrid Payton is a restricted free agent. So those are the 2 positions they need, because other than Elfrid Payton, you got Shaquille Harrison at point guard. You got Tyler Ulis at point guard, who's 5'10", who we haven't really seen. He has put up big numbers, but we don't know if he's a starting caliber point guard, especially at that height. And then center, Alex Len, he's a decent center. Tyson Chandler, he's getting older. It's time. He's becoming more of a backup. So those are the 2 needs at this point. Now the problems are Tyson Chandler's contract and Brandon Knight's contract. Now, you're going to see with a lot of these teams, I believe that the problems are these players' contracts. Now, I get the NBA has raised that salary cap, and these players are getting paid more than they're worth. But still, if you want to be a good team in this league, you have to have cap space to go get these good players. So, Tyson Chandler is getting paid $13 million a year. That's absurd for a guy like Tyson Chandler. And then Brandon Knight is making $13.6 million per year. Brandon Knight, they've been trying to get rid of this guy for years, and they just can't seem to find a trade partner. So, I said the Suns had one of their worst seasons in their history last season. It didn't help that they fired their head coach early into the year and ran with an assistant that was handed the ropes with no former experience, okay? I didn't like the Elfrid Payton trade. Now, as you know, I am a Magic fan. So, they lost a second-round pick for him, but even that seems like too much. Okay, Elfrid has proven himself to be a solid backup, but not a starter. Okay? With the Magic, he was a starter every single season, and look where he was with the Magic. He's just not consistent on offense. He can be a hell of a defensive point guard when you need him to, but the man is not consistent on offense. Devin Booker is a future star, and he has already proven himself to be one that they can't get anywhere without his help. So, here is my pick for them. I think it's almost the worst kept secret in the league now that they're going to take Luka Doncic with their pick. It's one of the worst kept secrets. They just hired a coach that coached Luka in EuroLeague. Now, they could take DeAndre Ayton. That is possible. But I think it is almost a match made in heaven that the coach is going to take his former pupil or player. Now, let me say this. He is young. He is 18, and in this past EuroLeague season, he had 14.5 points, 5.2 total rebounds, 4.7 assists, and 2.2 turnovers. He shot 46% from field goal. He shot 31% from the three-point line, and he shot 60% inside the three-point line. Now, I'm not a fan over the past couple years with EuroLeague players. Mario Hezonja at the number 5 pick has been a bust. People love him still for some reason, but he's been a bust. So when I heard about this Luka Doncic kid, I was like, why is he so popular? And then I watched his film. At the age of 14 or 13, he was playing in the Liga ABC or ACB over in Europe. And he scored 2 points a game. Now, he only played in 3 games, but he's playing against grown men at the age of 14. And he only improved every year. Okay? So last year, he scored 7.8 points per game. So he improved by 6 points. So the big thing about this kid is he's a 6'8 point guard who is so young, but he's scoring great amount of points against grown men. So I think they take Luka Doncic. It's almost too perfect. They'll get their point guard, so they'll let Elfrid Payton walk as a restricted free agent. They won't match any offer. They'll go get this point guard, and then you have Devin Booker at the 2, Josh Jackson at the 3, and then Dragan Bender or Marquise Chris at the 4, and then sign Alex Len back, and you got your center. I think that's a pretty solid starting lineup for a team, depending on how good Luka Doncic is. All right, so that is my first selection with the Phoenix Suns. Now, all you Sacramento Kings fans, congratulations. You moved up from the projected 7th to the 2nd pick. So, you guys went 27-55 last year. In your roster, let me just start out with the needs. So, I think you need a small forward, first of all. Then a center, and then a shooting guard. So, but here's your problems. You have washed up veterans, okay? Your youth and your cap space, okay? So, Vince Carter's a free agent, so I don't know if you'll re-sign him, but you put him on an $8 million a year contract for the 1 year. That's crazy. To pay that man $8 million as a 41-year-old. Okay? Let me look down the line. So, Garrett Temple, $8 million. Zach Randolph, $12 million. So you're paying Zach $12 million a year. Now, do you want to know how much Zach Randolph scored last year? 14.5 points per game. That man was your leading scorer at 14 points a game. So clearly, you do not have scoring. So, I can tell you the problem with the Kings right off the bat. They overpay for players and have too many young guys at the moment. Okay? So, you guys just need to get older. Older and wiser. Because you got some young guys that actually could potentially be stars in this league. De'Aaron Fox. You got your point guard. Harry Giles. He's injury prone, but he can help you down the line. Nigel Hayes, 23 years old. Buddy Hield, been in the league for a couple years. Justin Jackson, rookie last year. Frank Mason III, rookie. So you guys are very young. But that'll only improve with time. So that's why I think you just gave away DeMarcus Cousins last year. So why not and go get your center of the future, DeAndre Ayton. He could be the number 1 pick. Don't get me wrong. DeAndre Ayton could go number 1 to Phoenix. But if he doesn't, he's going number 2. So he had 20.1 points per game last year, 2 blocks a game, about 12 rebounds. He shot 64% inside the three-point line, and he shot 61% in all field goals. 74% free throw shooter. The guy is lengthy and he's tall. Because right now, center-wise, you got Willie Cauley-Stein and Kosta Koufos. Willie Cauley-Stein, he's not a starting center. He is going to be a solid backup center. But, like I said, you just have he's young as well. So I think you go and you get DeAndre Ayton out of Arizona, 7'1", 260 pounds. So that's who I got Sacramento taking. Then we get to the third pick with the Atlanta Hawks. Honestly, when I saw this roster, I knew maybe 2 names on it. 2 or 3. I was just amazed at how the Hawks went from so good to it honestly looks like a bunch of players that they would get off of a players league, like the G League or something like that. It does not look like a team of NBA players. So the needs, I said, is everything. You take the best player available at 3. Because right now, you can use any help you can get. So the problem is the roster is shaky with no clear star or no clear backups. And now Dennis Schroeder wants to leave. He wants to play for a good East team. And he knows that the Atlanta Hawks are not a good East team. So he's getting paid the most. But really, the only problem cap-wise is Kent Bazemore at 16 or 17 mil. That's really the only problem. Got no free agents, but most likely they're going to be trading Dennis Schroeder soon. So, I said the Hawks are a train wreck of messes. When I look at this roster, I don't see any player that is even decent besides Dennis Schroeder. The fact that you're paying Kent Bazemore close to $17 million a year is absurd. To be honest, if I was the GM of this organization, I would just draft the best available. Okay? So I have in my mock them taking Marvin Bagley III out of Duke. Okay? The dude's a beast. 21 points per game, right? He had 11.1 rebounds, a block, a steal a game. He's a beast inside. So let's look at your centers. Dwayne Dedmon, Miles Plumlee. You need a big boy down in the paint. John Collins, there's no set big man that can help you. Now, again, you could use a shooting guard, but you need the best available. So Marvin Bagley is the best available. So I say take him. So I think they go Marvin Bagley III, and he will help them out tremendously with anything that they want him to do. All right. On to the Memphis Grizzlies. You guys must feel really bad about what happened last night. You guys were supposed to have the second pick in the draft, and that just crumbled. Really bad. So, I think your needs are small forward and a reliable point guard and center. So, you have 3 problems on this team. And that is Mike Conley's contract, Chandler Parsons' contract, and Marc Gasol's contract. And not just their contract, but the way they are playing. You guys used to be a playoff team with Marc Gasol and Mike Conley. But now it is completely a piss-poor team. You get rid of a good coach, and it just turns bad. Okay? You were a 43-39 team last year that took the Spurs to a 6-game series in the playoffs. And then the next year, you have the second worst record in the league. Injuries are plaguing Conley's career. Marc Gasol has no confidence, and Chandler Parsons is being overpaid to play like a backup player. The Grizzlies need a ton of pieces. First, you need to talk to these 3 guys and ask them to restructure their contract. All of them combined are making $73 million. Did you know that? $73 million. I think, honestly, they most likely will have to cut one of them to get to where they want to be or trade one. And I really think, I thought that they wanted DeAndre Ayton at 2. But it's not going to, I don't think they get a center. I just don't. They can't. So I think they go with the second best, and that is Jaren Jackson Jr. out of Michigan State. 6'11", 242. He had about 11 points a game, 5.8 rebounds. He's a lengthy guy. He can help you. 6'11" as a power forward. And say you want to keep Marc Gasol, that's 7'1", 6'11". Nobody's getting in on the paint. But Mike Conley's making $28 million. So they also do need a point guard. But I think the point guards, you can get a late one. There's a good solid amount of point guards in the late picks, so they might have to go that route later. But I think right here, you got to take Jaren Jackson Jr. out of Michigan State. He's definitely going to help out Gasol, and he'll give you solid points in there. And he can shoot the 3 a little bit, so maybe it'll help the NBA three-point line. I don't know how much that'll affect him. But again, this is a way too early mock draft. We still have we got the combine and we got a ton of other stuff to see where teams will fall. This is my way too early mock. We got the Dallas Mavericks. So Dallas also got screwed a little bit. They went 24-58 last year. And their roster has a couple good pieces, but it's got a lot of free agents. You got Seth Curry as a free agent, Yogi Ferrell as a restricted free agent, Aaron Harrison as a restricted free agent, Doug McDermott as a restricted free agent, Salah Murji as a restricted free agent, and Nerlens Noel as a free agent. This is the problem that I'm going to talk about with the Philadelphia 76ers later. So all these players are coming into a contract year. Their needs is a power forward and a center. Listen, Dirk is one of the greatest power forwards to ever play this game. He's revolutionized his position. But he's getting old and tired. He's 39 years old, guys. He's playing on a piss-poor team. You need to go out and get his successor. Now, the problems are simple. Depth and Wesley Matthews' contract. Very simple. You got your starters, and then your bench is a bunch of no-names. Or guys that are somewhat helpful, but not really. It's almost like the Cavs, but a lot worse. So, they're a team of misfits and nobodies. I loved the draft pick of Dennis Smith Jr. I thought it was the perfect pick for them last year. They got their point guard. But, again, Dirk isn't getting any younger. You need to draft a big that can dominate your team and take over the paint area. Noel is a free agent. So why pay him when you can just draft the next center? So I think they go Mohamed Bamba out of Texas. Power forward, 6'11", 225. Scores 13 points a game. Okay? 10.5 rebounds. About a block, 4 blocks a game almost. 3.7. That's his average this year. He's a beast inside. He can protect the paint like any other center in this draft. I think he's the second best. They count him as a power forward, but you could put him at center. One or the other. This dude's going to dominate inside. It's almost a not miss inside the 2-point percentage, but he reminds me a little of a Bismack Biyombo. He's a defensive guy, but he could score in the paint. You just got to give him the ball in the right position. So if the Mavericks can go get themselves a promising big to take over for Noel, the team will be headed in the right direction. But they also got to get a couple free agents to help because Harrison Barnes can't do it on his own. Wesley Matthews can't do it on his own. They've got to get some help inside. All right. So, this is the team that I've been waiting for. Last night was not my favorite night in Magic history. We dropped a pick. I thought we were going to get the 5th, but of course, the Magic can't get any good luck. So we got the 6th. So they've got a couple free agents. Aaron Gordon, we're going to re-sign him. He's going to get paid at least $20 million a year because that is the only bright light on this team. Aaron Aflalo is a free agent. Mario Hezonja is a free agent. And Maurice Spates is a free agent. So a bunch of backup players that help a little bit. So the Magic need a point guard, a center, and a small forward. It's so simple. Like, you kept Elfrid Payton for this long, and finally the new management came in and said, okay, he's not the future. All right. So Nick Vucevic in general is one of the problems. Bismack Biyombo's contract and Fournier's contract. This team has given me so many headaches and heartaches at the same time. As a fan, I have a bunch to say about the team. Number one, whatever you do this offseason, get rid of Biyombo. $17 million. Are you kidding me? One way or another, he has to go. If it's through a trade or if it's through releasing him, this man needs to go. So as well as Biyombo, Fournier and Vucevic need to get traded or keep one and get rid of the other. The Magic need their cap room back. And those three guys aren't helping, especially with the contract they're going to offer Aaron Gordon this summer. It's going to be at least $20 million. At least. Now, I wanted them to get Marvin Bagley. I thought Marvin Bagley was going to fall, but now I have them going Trae Young out of Oklahoma. I have one problem with Trae Young, and that's his turnovers. He had 5 turnovers a game. He's small. He's very small. But he had 27.4 points per game. He shot 36% from 3, 50% from the 2-point percentage, and field goal percentage straight was 42%. He had 8.7 assists. I have to like the kid. If Trae Young ends up going to the Magic, I need to give him a shot. Clearly, the point guards today are not defensive point guards. They are scoring guards, and that's what we need. So if the Magic end up taking Trae Young, I'll be okay with it. But my issue is this. He needs to grow up. All of the turnovers are going to kill him in this league. So if he can work on that, build some muscle mass, I think he'll be great. But the Magic need a point guard. Right now, DJ Augustine is our starting point guard. Go out, get a point guard. Do not take Colin Sexton. The reason why, he is Elfrid Payton 2.0. It's the same guy, the same point guard. Don't make that mistake again. Go get an offensive point guard to lead your team, and hopefully that'll be a start in the right direction for next year. That team gets me lit every time I talk about them. I can't get a break. I can't get a break from the Magic. It's upsetting. All right, Chicago Bulls fans, you guys got the 7th pick in the draft. You had 27 wins and 55 losses last year. All of your free agents are restricted. I think you're definitely going to sign Zach LaVine again. He's definitely going to be a bright spot for you next year if he stays healthy. Noah Vonleh, probably you're going to re-sign him. I don't know about David Nwamba or Ryan Arcidiacono. Don't know who he is, but we'll see what happens with them. I think your needs are just a shooting guard and a small forward. I like your point guard. You got some solid centers in there. Omar Sheik and Robin Lopez. But I think you really need that shooting guard or that small forward to take over your team. Your problems are youth. I like the roster. I really do. I think you guys have a solid roster, but you guys are very young. You remind me of the Magic a couple of years ago. You got a lot of young guys that just need a little bit more maturing and a little bit more playing experience to do well. And then Robin Lopez's contract. The dude is not that good to be getting paid that much. Now, honestly, both your centers are getting paid over $10 million. And they're 30 and 31. So I think they're solid, but they're getting overpaid a little too much. So again, the roster has a lot of young and promising players with Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, Antonio Blakely. I think, honestly, the center position is good at depth. It's just, again, the contracts are bad. So I think they could go with 3 guys here. I think they take Michael Porter Jr. out of Mizzou. But they could also go Mikal Bridges or Miles Bridges out of Villanova and Michigan State. But right now I'm going to stick with Michael Porter Jr. He's supposed to be the number 1 pick a year ago. When the way too early mock drafts came out, he was the sure for one number 1. So in 3, but he was injured all year at Missouri. All year. But in the 3 games, he scored 10 points a game, about 7 rebounds. It was honestly just his field goal percentage. He couldn't shoot one if his life depended on him. 33% shooting. But it's more about if he's healthy, what he can do. So I think they probably will go for the what if, the possibilities that Michael Porter Jr. can bring. That could be the next big-time small forward. But only time will tell. And the small forwards are really deep in this draft. But I would love to see Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, and Michael Porter Jr. on the same team. I think that would be a great roster and a fun one. So a team that I don't want to talk about, but I'm going to, is the Cleveland Cavaliers. So at the time of this episode, if you are listening it on May 16th, the Cleveland Cavaliers had just went down in the Eastern Conference Finals 2-0. But they have the 8th pick in the draft. They had a 50-32 record, and they have 5 free agents. Rodney Hood's restricted free agent. LeBron's a free agent. Kendrick Perkins is a free agent. Jeff Green's a free agent. Jose Calderon is a free agent. So, I'm going to act like LeBron leaves. This is how I'm going to do this mock. I'm going to act like LeBron's gone. He left for another team. Your need is a small forward. A power forward or a veteran. So if LeBron stays, I think you trade the pick to go get some type of veteran player. But I highly doubt LeBron stays. So we're going to act like LeBron left. I think they go small forward here. Okay, listen. Besides LBJ, the Cavs have a mediocre team. You take LeBron out and they're trash. They need to go out and get someone to replace LeBron's position. So I think Mikal Bridges from Villanova is the guy. He played for a very successful college program, shot a high percentage from the field. So if the Cavs want to start somewhere, this guy is it. He played for Villanova for 3 seasons, okay? First year, he had 6.4 points. Second year, 9.8. Third year, which was this past season, 17.7. He's only improved since he's gotten there. He's a junior. He's older. He has more of a basketball mind. You don't want a young guy. You go out and get this guy that's been in a very successful place and take him with your pick. Okay? And he's shot high from field goal percentage. You know, in every single year, he has not shot under 50% from the field goal. Not one season. Now, he's not much of a three-point shooter. He shot well last season, so he's definitely worked on his game. But I would say he's more of a guy that can drive it in, strong, powerful, 6'7", 210 pounds. Go out and get your next small forward. Because if you go out and get a Colin Sexton or a point guard, it's not going to work out for you. You do need a point guard. There's no doubt about it. You know, George Hill's getting paid $20 million a year. But I think this Mikal Bridges guy can help you out a ton. And he could be your next little star for the future. Now that we're done with the Cavs. Oh, thank God I got done with them. They are very interesting. The New York Knicks. So I think your needs are a small forward and shooting guard. And your problems are the contracts of Joakim Noah Tim Hardaway Jr. And also, you have no identity. When I look at this team, I don't see a path or an identity. I see just a bunch of players on a roster. So after looking at this roster, I'm actually surprised they won 29 games. The roster isn't too bad, but the problem is identity. You have players that are in development from 1 to 2 year point guards or 2 shooting guards that are getting paid over $10 million. I think, honestly, their centers and power forwards are set to go. Porzingis is a top 5 power forward, and Enes Kanter is a tough-as-nails center. He doesn't back down from anybody. So this offseason, they have to figure out what's going on with Joakim Noah, because I don't know what was going on, but I think because David Fizdale stepped in, possibly Joakim Noah will be okay. But I would let him go or trade him. You don't want the drama with this guy. He's getting paid $17 million for a guy that barely played last year. I'd get rid of him. But I think, honestly, you take Miles Bridges out of Michigan State. So you go small forward, small forward, small forward. You got some really deep small forwards in this draft. Okay? And I think Miles Bridges, for the past 2 years for Michigan State, he hasn't skipped a beat. First year, he had 16.9 points. Second year, 17.1. So a solid 17-point score in college. Shot 47% from the field goal. On the three-point line, he was 37%. The guy can play. So the Knicks, their whole problem is you need a guy that can take over a game. And I think Kristaps Porzingis can be the guy, but go out and get a small forward that can help you. Tim Hardaway Jr. is not that guy. $16 million a year. I just don't see it. Michael Beasley's a free agent, so he's not going to help you. You got Lance Thomas and Troy Williams. None of those small forwards are going to help you in any shape or form. Now, you still don't know what you got in I can never say this guy's name. Frank Ntilikina. I'm sorry, Knicks fans. I know you know his name. I can never pronounce that last name. I'm sorry. Emmanuel Mudiay, he's pretty solid. He needs some work. Trey Burke. So you got your point guard set. But if you can get that small forward, now they could be switched up. So say number one for let me remember, the Chicago Bulls. Say they don't take Michael Porter Jr., but they take Mikal Bridges, right? Michael Bridges. Then it could be shaken up. But I think out of those 3 guys, you need to get at least one of them. So that's what I think about the Knicks. I think they got to go get a small forward to help their team and to make their team relevant again. All right, another playoff team. For all you 76er fans, you 52-30 team, you must be loving life. A second-round playoff matchup, the 10th pick in the draft, and Ben Simmons as the face of your franchise. But you guys still have a long way to go. And let me tell you something real quick. This might bite you guys sooner rather than later. At some point, all those rookies that you've drafted over the years are going to have to get paid. And they won't be cheap. Embiid, Simmons, Saric are all getting paid in the next 2 years. So your cap will take a massive hit if you want to keep them all. But let's talk about now, okay? You're going to lose J.J. Redick in free agency unless he wants to take a pay cut. I highly doubt it because he made $23 million off of you guys last year, and I don't think he's going to go down too much, okay? So after looking at your roster, you got Marco Bellinelli as a free agent, Ersan Ilyasova as a free agent, Amir Johnson as a free agent. So most of these players were one-year players, which is understandable. Your point guards are piss poor. You got a number 1 pick in Markelle Fultz that barely played last year. And you got a guy, Jared Bayless. And there's another guy I'm trying to see. I can't find TJ McConnell. That's the guy. So you guys are really piss poor on the point guards. But I think you have enough players to find one that will work for you. So, again, I think you go small forward here. okay? You got Robert Covington, who's making $16 million a year. So I think you go out and you get that small forward that will potentially overtake Robert Covington as the starter. And that guy's Kevin Knox. 6'9" small forward, 215 pounds, hit 15.6 points per game, 5.4 total rebounds, shot 45% from the field goal line. Okay three-point shooter, but inside the three-point line, he's 50% inside. Guy's a solid player. He was a one-and-done player with Kentucky, so I think he would work perfectly with Philly. Now, if Philly did want to go and get a veteran, they could trade this pick, but I don't see why not. But I could also see why, because you've got all these contracts that are going to have to get paid. I did not research when these contracts were going to be up, but you got Joel Embiid. I think he was the first drafted. So I think next year Joel's going to have to get paid, right? Ben Simmons in a couple years. Dario's probably next year. So go out and get a guy that can come right in or draft. Draft a guy like Kevin Knox. But I don't know. Philly, your cap is going to take a hit. You're going to need to get rid of some of these guys. Just too much. You're overpaying because you want players to come. And now that you want LeBron James to come, I say good luck. All right. Charlotte Hornets. You guys were 36-46. I think your needs are a backup point guard and a power forward. And I think your problem is consistency. And let me tell you, I really like the Hornets roster. I think they have a ton of players that could potentially make them a scary East playoff team. Dwight looks back to somewhat of his old self, and Kemba is playing great as usual. So why aren't they making the playoffs now? I don't understand. And it's consistency. Listen, if a team can't play well together, then it won't work. They found their groove sort of at the end of the season, but by this time it was too late. I see them drafting Kemba Walker's backup here. Some people might get mad at me, but I think they take Colin Sexton out of Alabama, 6'3", 190. You got Michael Carter-Williams, who's a free agent. He's the backup. You're not going to go re-sign him, okay? So taking Sexton with the pick is a great backup point guard option to start out. And who knows what the future holds? This is a great backup plan if Kemba Walker leaves Charlotte. Some of these guys that have a star player, they never think about drafting the predecessor. They just think, oh, we have it. If it's broke, let's go fix another position. No. I think the guys he scored 9.2 points in college, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 44% from the field goal line, 49% from 2-point percentage, 33% from 3-point. Okay? You don't know what can happen with this guy. Okay? Kemba is a hell of a point guard. I love him to death. But the dude's going to have to get paid more at some point. And he's been having issues with management this past year. So we don't know what's going on. So I think if I'm Charlotte, you draft this backup as a backup, but also as a backup plan. A backup plus a backup plan. Because think about it. You re-sign Kemba, okay? Then you have a great backup for if Kemba gets hurt or if Kemba needs to sit out for a couple minutes. They're pretty similar. So I think you take Colin Sexton at 11. I think he falls this much. But I like the Charlotte Hornets. I think they make the playoffs next year if they take the right people in this draft. But I like Charlotte a lot. I really do. And they don't really have a lot of free agents. The one free agent they really have that is worth something is Michael Carter-Williams. But besides that, your whole team's staying intact. So I really like Charlotte here. All right. Now we get to the Los Angeles Clippers. So you have 2 free agents, Montrezl Harrell and Avery Bradley, which, oddly enough, is what I think you need. I think you need a power forward and a shooting guard, which is very strange. This was one of the hardest teams to figure out what you needed because you have so much of everything. Okay? So I think the problems are very simple. It's the contracts of DeAndre Jordan, Danilo Gallinari, Tobias Harris, and Austin Rivers. Their contracts are just insane. I think Daddy Rivers wanted to give his son an $11 million a year contract. That's what I think. But it's very interesting. The Clippers have the 2 back-to-back picks, so they have 12 and 13 in the draft this year. They have a great opportunity to add more depth to this already deep roster. For a team that was supposed to suck this year, they really proved a lot of people wrong. Signing Gallinari and getting Beverly, Bradley, and Tobias Harris really brought something that the Clippers haven't seen in a while. And that is a team that has to work together to win, not a team that relies on superstars. Now, honestly, I think they take, with the 12th pick, Wendell Carter Jr. This guy, if he goes at 12, would have dropped so far from where he's supposed to be taken. So I think with no really set star power forward, you go get this guy from Duke. 13.5 points per game. 2 blocks a game. 9 rebounds per game. And he's a beast inside. He can shoot the 3 ball. 41% from 3-point percentage today, or in this season. Field goal percentage is 56%. The guy knows how to put the ball in the basket. But he's a great defender too. He's big, he's lengthy, 6'10", 259. It's like a truck. You ain't getting past him. So I think, 1, you take Wendell Carter. 2, for you all Miami fans, I think they take Lonnie Walker here. He's out of Miami. Shooting guard, 6'5", 204. I watched the highlights on this guy, and let me tell you, he is a strong dude. The dude can drive and put it up. He's tall for a shooting guard. Kind of looks like a Kobe type, size-wise. I'm not relating him to Kobe, but size-wise, he's like a Kobe. So I think you take a power forward here and a shooting guard. That'll really help them out. Now, there's potential that they trade one of these picks. If they don't want both 2 rookies, they could trade them. But I think if you want to create more depth, why not take 2 of these guys? You could sit Lonnie Walker on the bench for the first year because you got Lou Williams, start Lou Williams, and then start Wendell Carter. This dude is huge, and he will help you out big time with DeAndre Jordan. Nobody will be getting inside that paint. All right, and finally, I've got the Denver Nuggets. When I looked at the Denver Nuggets roster, it was hard to find a need. They have a ton of talent with the likes of Jokic, Harris, Murray. I think it's really simple. This draft is loaded with small forward talent, and you need one. That's honestly the only thing I think they need, is a solid small forward. With Will Barton a free agent, he's most likely gone. And Wilson Chandler's only getting older by the years. You need the next solid small forward for your front court. And I believe they will take Keita Bates-Diop out of Ohio State. This guy is a 6'7", 235 pounds of sheer talent. He's only improved. Now, he took a dip after the 2015-2016 season. He dropped about 2 points per game, but he shot better from field goal percentage. He had a better field goal percentage, but he had less points. But last year, he had 19. He took a big increase. He had about 20 points a game for Ohio State. He shot 48% from the field goal line, about 36% from three-pointer, 80% free throw shooter, 8.7 rebounds. This guy's not too lengthy, but he knows how to make shots, and he'll be a solid option for the Nuggets. Now, luckily, they still have Wilson Chandler. So if they didn't want to start him right away, you put Wilson Chandler in that starting lineup and let him learn. But I think Keita Bates-Diop is going to be a solid role player for the Nuggets with all of their future stars already. So that is my 1.0 mock draft and my idea of every team. So I'm going to go over the mock again. I think Phoenix takes Luka Doncic with the number 1 pick. Second, I think the Sacramento Kings take DeAndre Ayton out of Arizona. I think for the third pick, the Atlanta Hawks take Marvin Bagley III out of Duke. The fourth pick, I think the Memphis Grizzlies take Jaren Jackson Jr. out of Michigan State. The fifth pick, I think the Dallas Mavericks take Mohamed Bamba out of Texas, power forward. I think with the sixth pick, the Orlando Magic take Trae Young, Oklahoma. With the seventh pick, I think the Chicago Bulls take Michael Porter Jr. out of Missouri. With the eighth pick, I think Cleveland takes Michael Bridges Villanova. I think with the ninth pick, the New York Knicks take Miles Bridges out of Michigan State. With the 10th pick, I think Philadelphia 76ers take Kevin Knox out of Kentucky. With the 11th pick, I think the Charlotte Hornets take Colin Sexton out of Alabama. With the 12th and 13th pick, I think the Los Angeles Clippers take Wendell Carter Jr. out of Duke and Lonnie Walker out of Miami. And then with the 14th pick, I think the Denver Nuggets take Yetta Bates-Diop out of Ohio State. All right, guys, that is my NBA draft lottery special here on the Green Light. This is a bigger and longer episode. So I put all of the times with all the teams down under. So whatever your favorite team is, you can just listen to what I say about your team. But besides that, thank you for listening. I will have another episode in the next couple days, probably after the third game of each of the NBA series. And hopefully we will get more NFL news soon. I'm really itching for football. It's so interesting to see that there's nothing happening right now. But we'll see. The NBA just has so much right now that it's really hard to put anything else besides the NBA in it. So again, thank you for tuning into The Green Light. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Green Light. I know it's kind of hard to find, but hopefully soon we will get a solid YouTube link that'll work. But subscribe, like, view, do what you do. Follow me on Twitter at TheGreenLightSP. Tell me, who do you think gets the first pick? I'm going to put that in a Twitter poll up on that. And also, I will be live streaming Twitch within the next week, so I will be giving out my name there. And any serious businesses that would like to offer me something or shout out their business on The Green Light, hit me up at thegreenlightsports@gmail.com. All right, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. I will see you in a couple days. I hope I shed a light on your day, and I hope to shed a light on you in the future. Thank you guys for listening.